Hey guys, and welcome back to another Update Thursday video. So last week's update was not covered because it was a pretty short update, not really much to put into a video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover last week's update and today's update in the same video, and pretty much do the same every time there's a smaller update. I'll just combine updates into one video either after a week or 2 weeks, just so the videos aren't like a minute and 30 seconds long, because that's pretty much how long last week's update was. But we're going to head into last week's update and then go over today's update, and you guys can tell me what you think. First up, we have an update to the smithing and silver crafting interfaces. So the interfaces now have quantity buttons like the gold crafting interface does that allow the make all and other quantities to be selected via a left click / tap option. The layout has also been adjusted to accommodate this and to show the requirements information more conveniently. Its borders are also now consistent with other related menus. The silver crafting interface has also had some additional usability adjustments to take advantage of its available space, making it easier to see at a glance if a higher level is needed to make a particular item, and naming the unique molds used by these special items. Its borders now use the original old school style like other related interfaces do, like crafting, anvils, and tablet lecterns. Now, just to throw this out there as maybe a little bit of a talking point, this is mainly an update that's meant for old school mobile, but it was then also implemented into the desktop version of the game. Just kind of, an interesting talking point I see people bring up a lot is, originally when they released mobile, they said that the updates for mobile would never affect the main game. I don't think people were complaining about make all options on the desktop version of the game, but it's just kind of interesting to see the changes we've had on the desktop version because of old school mobile. We have some updates to Zalcano, the Gauntlet, and Crystal Weapons, which are all Prifdinnis and Song of the Elves content. Zalcano mainly had just some quality of life things that make the boss a little less annoying to kill. For example, the symbols now take slightly longer before dealing damage. If you're standing underneath Zalcano after she's been knocked down, the damage has been reduced. Falling rocks during Zalcano's encounter now deal damage when hitting the floor rather than the player, to be consistent with other similar mechanics. Zalcano now takes a consistent amount of time to destroy the glowing rock, and the drops from the golem will now only be given to the player who deals the most damage. Onto the gauntlet, when creating items inside of the gauntlet, the interface will remain open provided you have the ingredients to create other items. Killing a duplicate tier 3 creature within the gauntlet will now have a guaranteed chance to drop a different powerful weapon component, provided you don't already have one. And the scoreboard in the gauntlet lobby has been extended to display your deaths and the global deaths for each version of the gauntlet. Crystal weapons and shields with 2,500 charges or brand new ones will now stack in the bank. Note that these will not automatically stack in the bank after you log in, but will be converted when they are equipped to gain or lose any charges. There's a pretty long section in this news post called Adventure Paths, and what they're pretty much talking about here is just helping new players have a better experience when they join the game. So not only when they're in Tutorial Island, but also when they get off Tutorial Island and they make it to the mainland, pretty much giving them some better direction as to what to do. So this can mean things like giving them teleports to play at different areas of the game, or even something like making agility available to free players. Now, the transport system, which is what I just said, did not prove to be very popular, so they're not going to add to the game, but things like making agility available to free players was. So what they're pretty much talking about here is if there was a way to add something to the game that would help the experience of new players, maybe people who actually have never played this game before, because believe it or not, kind of hard to believe, but there's probably some people who are logging into this game or have never played it before and would like to, but maybe they're a little bit stuck. But again, that's a bit of a touchy subject because that's changing some old content, stuff that's been the same forever. So I guess if I have a question for you guys today is, what would be something that they could add to the game that would be useful for newer players, but wouldn't really change the core early game mechanics of the game itself? It's a tough question, but let's see if we can find some creative answers. If you guys would like, you can buy RuneFest 2019 merch if you're interested. If you guys are going to RuneFest this year, I'll actually be there as well. So make sure to say hi if you're there. Tell me what's up. Tell me your favorite update. And yeah, I'm excited. Lots and lots of in other news updates today, but the big one up here at the top is that the Shiloh Village shortcut has now been changed to require the medium diary instead of the elite diary, which is the one right next to the bridge. I don't really ever use this one. I don't know why you would use this one, but the fact that it's medium now makes a lot more sense because the shortcut's kind of useless anyway. Lots of other smaller ones here as well if you guys would like to read through those, but that is last week's update. Let's head to today's update. The lectern interfaces have been changed a little bit. They added quantity buttons to the POH lecterns and the Arceus lectern, and they've also changed the POH's lecterns menu on mobile devices so that it shows the tablet's name without relying on hover over text. This does not affect the desktop version of the game. And probably the biggest update today is that there is a new lectern in the game, the marble lectern, which requires 77 construction, a marble block, a magic stone, and a gold leaf to create. Now, the reason this one is probably the biggest update is because you no longer now need multiple lecterns to make all of the teleport tablets or all of the Bones to Peaches tablets in the game. Whatever tablet you guys want to make, you can now make it on this new marble lectern. Previously, you needed 2 separate rooms to build these lecterns because you needed, again, 2 separate lecterns to make all of the tablets, but now there's this one single marble lectern which can make all of the tablets you'd like. The graphic for clue reward caskets now matches their clue scroll tier color. Caskets found during a clue have remained unchanged. A couple of changes to fishing trawler here, aka the worst minigame in the game. Leaky holes in the fishing trawler now allow more people to attempt to patch them simultaneously without giving a dead click. The minigame still lasts 10 minutes, however the timer has been changed from 12 to 10 minutes because there is just kind of a bug with it, and it really wasn't 12, it was actually 10 the entire time. The true duration has not changed, like I said, but they are open to polling it in the future, which I think would be a phenomenal update. If they can just change the minigame length from like 10 to 5 minutes or something, that would be absolutely great. And the activity bar and fishing trawler will no longer decrease if there's no activity left to do. There's been a couple of changes to the Song of the Elves quest. If you guys want to replay the boss fight with Saren, you can now do that, and you can also rewatch all of the cutscenes inside of the quest as well. You guys can find the replayable boss fight in the Tower of Voices in Prifddinas. It's a safe death, and all of the cutscenes can be played via the Memoriam device atop of the Tower of Voices as well. The Elven Trader and Asilt have been added to the Nightmare Zone after completion of Song of the Elves. Ardoin Knight armor can now be stored in a player-owned house. When using the Crystal Singing Bowl in the Gauntlet, you will now be presented with all the types of items you can make, and the Grand Library of Prifddinas has been graphically improved to help with the frame rate issues that some players were experiencing. Okay, so this next one here is actually pretty interesting and definitely worth checking out if you guys are curious about the future of PvMing and PvPing on old school, because it actually could have big implications. So for the past 15 years, the way that the algorithm calculated line of sight was not symmetrical, meaning that a player might be able to range and mage their target without the target having line of sight to range and mage the player back. The reason that they made these changes is to have a more accurate and a fair PvP and PvM challenge. In 2009, though, RuneScape released an update that changed the way it worked. Line of sight was calculated in order to make it symmetrical, and as we all know, Old School was released back in 2007, and as such, they still have a non-symmetrical system. They plan to implement the update in Old School, and as such, they have opened up a beta world to allow you guys to test it. So the algorithm change could actually affect a number of things, including line of sight minigames like Sorcerer's Guard and Piscarilius Thieving Challenges, etc., NPCs attacking you and vice versa from a distance while not being blocked by scenery, and NPCs such as the Pestilent Bloat in the Theater of Blood. So pretty much what that means is that in certain PvMing or even PvPing instances, you guys are able to attack somebody because you're hidden behind scenery or because they don't have the line of sight to attack you back, but with this change, they'd be able to find you and attack you back, and it could actually change a lot of metas for PvMing. I've already heard things about, the Infernal Cape, the Inferno could change, raids could change, TOB could change, and this is interesting. I don't really hear anybody asking for it, but if they think it's best for the game to put this into the game, that's very interesting and could see a lot of things changing. So if you guys are curious, if you guys have tested it out, if you guys have a thought about this, please let me know in the comment section below, because this is actually could be very, very big. The line of sight being changed from an asymmetrical algorithm or a non-symmetrical algorithm to a symmetrical algorithm. That was really big boy words. The Last Man Standing beta has now been opened again, and they've made the following changes since the last beta. They removed the Occult Necklace from the opening loadout. This has now been placed in the offensive loot table for crates and keys. The starting positions of the Black D'hide top and Mystic top have been swapped, and the number of Morgan's Javelins has been increased from 10 to 1,000. Players will no longer be able to have more than 11 sharks in their inventory at a time, and the same applies for having more than 2 Karambans. Players will no longer have their run energy decreased inside of Last Man Standing, and as a result, the Stamina Potion has been removed from the inventory. On to the In Other News section, there's really mainly just graphical fixes here, a lot of big bugs with current armors that involve stretching that have pretty much all been fixed, and a couple of typos and other smaller things. Really nothing massive to change here. So that's going to be the update for last week and this week. At the bottom here, they have, though, something, a little bit of sneak peek for next week. Stay tuned in the coming weeks for separate KD ratios for PvP and Bounty Hunter worlds, and the Elven Chathead rework as voted on by you. So the Elven Chatheads rework looks like it's going to be coming next week or in a couple weeks. So there's actually one more thing I'm going to check out here, and I'm not going to go over pretty much any of it, but I just want to let you guys know that it's here. There is a Bounty Hunter rework design and PvP changes. This has been asked for quite some time. Okay, well, that's not cool. Wait, really? There we go. Okay, so there, yeah, pretty much if you guys are interested in PvP and the Bounty Hunter rework design, there's an article, there's a news post on it right now with a lot of changes. So if you guys are looking to help PvP get back into the game, get active again, definitely check out this news post posted by Mod Gambit. We do thankfully have a RuneLite update today, courtesy of Adam and the RuneLite boys, the 1.5.31 release of RuneLite. So the loot tracker now has collapsible loot boxes and can also track loot from the Kingdom of Miscellanea. The clue plugin now supports Sherlock challenge clues, And something really cool right here, a loading splash screen was added which shows the client load progress when it starts. It also includes better error handling, so if the client fails to start, it shows a prompt with the reason and possible resolution steps. A launcher release is planned soon to include a similar themed loading screen and improved error handling, which is very, very nice. They also have a bunch of smaller improvements here as well, if you guys would like to read through these, but that's going to be it for the RuneLite and the 2 old school updates for the past few weeks. Thank you guys all for tuning in today. I hope you guys really enjoy these. I like making them. It keeps me up to date, and hopefully it keeps you guys up to date as well. Thank you guys all for watching. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one, and peace.
Wow.